Good morning, everyone. I'm saying good morning because it's after 1 o'clock in the morning and another night when I couldn't sleep. And the reason why I couldn't sleep is because I'm going to do a little dissertation here on what is infuriating me and causing me to react in righteous indignation. And that is recently my church, which is Sanctuary Church in Pennsylvania, held a wedding ceremony, a blessing ceremony of couples, and with the blessing itself, we had accompanied crowns and the rod of iron, which is outlined in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, as the rod of iron, otherwise known for us as the AR-15, a royal and religious accoutrement. Now, there was a lot of outrage about that from our local community, and it went worldwide, virally, when our pastor, Sean Moon, son of the Reverend Sun Myung Moon, held this ceremony in conjunction with the dictates of heaven and of his father, the King of Kings. Now, the problem with it is that the protesters that came about here locally, incidentally and unusually, well, let me take that back, it's not unusual, were white liberal Democrats who were decrying the fact that people were allowed to carry guns, that guns were present. And of course, on the aftermath of this horrific shooting in Florida, the one of many, where the perpetrator was toked up on all kinds of so-called antidepressants, as it always has been with every one of these boys who goes shooting up a school, that the medications caused this boy to snap. And he went in and destroyed killed all these fellow students. And for some odd reason, the Democrat sheriff from Florida did nothing about it, even hindered the first responders, EMTs, from going in and trying to save lives. Now, my beef is going to be with the establishment of the Democrat white liberals who, for some strange reason, always have violent reactions when it comes to guns. And it's always something where they get into the streets and cry about gun control when a lily white school gets shot up. But I don't ever hear any of these white liberal Democrats coming up and screaming bloody murder every weekend when black kids are mowed down in Detroit, in Chicago, in LA, in New York, in New Orleans, and in Washington, D.C., and all the other places where we have our problems with gun control. Now, it's so interesting that they got up there and screamed and cried about how horrible it is that we would have AR-15s in a religious ceremony. Well, that's just too damn bad. This is still America. First Amendment rules still apply, much to your chagrin, but we're going to honor those rights to assembly, free speech, and the Second Amendment, which gives me the God-given right to carry my AR in church when my pastor wants us to bring it. Now, what I'm upset with is it's really unusual how all these white liberal Democrats want to come forth and scream about gun control when if the rapist goes into their house to rape their wife and their children, they're going to go get their guns and do something about it. But in my community, my neighborhood, my race, for some reason, they have a big problem with me having an AR-15 and all others. So the demonstration that they did in downtown Milford last week, interestingly enough, had no minorities, had no black people, had no Hispanics, had no Asians, and yet they're screaming in bloody murder about an Asian man in an interracial church with people from all over the world, from Muslim, from Christian, from Buddhist, from Catholic backgrounds, exercising their right to the Second Amendment to bring their monitored ARs into a church ceremony. Now, why is it that they want to keep us on some sort of plantation. You know, all plantations were gun-free zones. The only people that had the guns were their masters. And it seems to me they're doing the same frickin' thing. They want to keep minorities disarmed, and they want to keep up the good old Democrat, tradition of the segregationist South, where the Democrat Party controlled the Ku Klux Klan, where the guys like Lester Maddox and George Wallace and Bull Connor and Al Gore Sr. were screaming segregation now and segregation forever, and refused to allow black people to own arms. And it was the NRA people that went into the Reconstruction South and armed ex-slaves so that they could defend their property, their lives, and their families against the Klan riders at that time. The NRA did that, not the white Southern Democrats. I'm a conservative actually, of the party of Lincoln, the liberator. Okay? And for those who want to keep me on the plantation, you white liberal Democrats who want me never to have school choice, you want to let me send my children to a failing state-run school, you want to have all the Planned Parenthood centers in the African-American communities, the minority communities, where your founder, Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood, wanted to go around and make certain that the weeds of our society, i.e. blacks, Hispanics, and all the other minorities, were weeded out and exterminated through abortion. Why is it that that's okay, but me having the empowerment of an armed family, having armed my home, sorry, honey, and having the right to bear arms in my house, you have a problem with. But you never have a problem with little black kids being shot up every weekend in crack neighborhoods where MS-13 is running rampant. You don't have a problem with illegal immigrants coming here and displacing minority workers. You don't have a problem with gerrymandering, Tom Wolf, gerrymandering the state of Pennsylvania so you can have 100,000 more illegals voting and displacing and canceling out my vote as well as the rest of us American citizens. No, you don't have a problem with that. You always have a problem when people want to stand empowered and not fall back on the plantation of slavery that you, Tom Wolf, that you, Hillary Clinton, that you, Barack Obama, and the rest of you want, and you, especially the Democrat Party in the city of Milford, want to continue to maintain your little plantation for the rest of us. But you want to keep that elitist mentality going. That's where you're the water boys and girls of the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all the others, George Soroses of the world. And you know what? You're the ones who want to keep us disarmed so we can continue to be your slaves, so you can continue to have power. And guess what? Party's over. The call has gone out. Now, for you American citizens, you Christians, Judeo-Christian foundation-loving people in this world, we're going to have a march. We're going down to Milford, and we are going to overcome march. We're going to sit there, and we're going to claim that the right of self-determination is a God-given right, the God-given right for me to carry my firearm, the God-given right for me to speak out in defense of my right to have firearms. And if you don't like it, that's just too bad. You're not shutting us down anymore, and you're not going to control our guns, because when you want to control our guns, you want to control us. Party's over. And I say that with all the faith in Jesus Christ, who has come to liberate us all. And if you don't like that, you slave taskmasters and your little overseers on the leash, you're going to have to just get over that, because there's going to be new sheriffs in town, and they're basically going to say, hell no to gun control. If black lives matter, then black guns matter. Okay? I just want you to understand that. And I'm going to say that now as I sign off tonight, actually this morning. And I hope this goes out around the world. So you guys get on my Facebook page, Family Firearms Association. You can look us up. We're going to put the details of our march into Milford up there, time and date to be announced. Join us, especially you minority gun owners who believe that the Second Amendment also applies to you as far as your right to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So thanks again, and I'll be seeing you very, very soon. Bye-bye, everybody, and God bless.